Grant Holloway winning gold. Grant Holloway winning gold. Matter? Doesn't matter.
That also doesn't matter because, um, like it doesn't matter in the fact of that he's like, yeah, like it would have mattered if he lost, but him winning it doesn't matter because one, like I said in the podcast, they need to rename the 60-meter hurdles the Grant Holloways because he's
Mhm,
won like 57 races in a row. It's unreal.
mhm,
Um, and I don't think this success in this his indoor season success um, is any like sign of like, watch out. Like he could have he could have taken this entire indoor season off and
mhm,
have this entire like if he would have taken this entire season indoor off or had the season he just had, I would have the exact same expectation of him outdoor season. So
mhm,
there really was nothing he changed about the expectation of himself going in outdoors. The expectation is he's going to flirt with the world record and he's going to be the heavy favorite in Eugene. Like that's the
mhm.
expectation. And this win just reaffirms the exact expectation. So it really doesn't matter.
If you look at outdoor championships, Olympics and world championships as all the same, which track fans do, because we know everybody goes all in on worlds, everybody goes all in Olympics. Outside of the track world, everybody just really pays attention to Olympics and then it drops off. But if you think that world championships equals Olympics, then yeah, the race that really matters is at the world championships because he lost at the Olympics and he's trying to get the title again. But I could see another perspective too, where you're like, hey, he already has a world championship title. The real thing that matters is that Olympic title, which he didn't win, got upset in the final against Hansel Parchment. And then you'd say, hey, we're just looking for 2024. But I'm not going to go that far. I think outdoors world championships matter. World record obviously is another thing he needs to check off his to-do list, but he ran great. Obviously, prelim time, PR time, prelim time, world record time for Grant Holloway. But I agree with you. It's like it's only a story. He's so good. It's only a story if he loses at the indoors at this point, or if he, breaks his world record by some ungodly margin indoors. But him winning ultimately, I think it's all about outdoors for him at this point.
What would happen? What would be your perspective if Grant goes on to break the world record outdoors 4 times in his career? So he like PRs he breaks the world record and then
Yeah.
PRs 3 more times. He also wins in 2022. He wins in 2023. He gets hurt in 2024, so doesn't compete. Wins in 2025. Wins in
Yeah.
2027, and then gets second in 2028. So he'll have all these gold medals, but never an Olympic gold. Would that be like the weirdest, greatest athlete of all time?
Well,
Like,
what you described was Felix for a while in the 200, right? She was winning all the world titles and then didn't have an Olympic title. And that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between how track fans view it and how people outside the immediate track community see it. I see those things as equal. Like when I look at a person's career, I don't give extra points for Olympic gold versus world championship gold. But athletes, I think, obviously care. They want to be able to say Olympic champion. There's obviously a financial boost that comes with being an Olympic champion. That would be strange. Could I see something like that happening? Absolutely, because every championship is its own beast. I just think for him, that I mean, breaking the world record multiple times, and you're talking about multiple gold medals, he's going to be in the greatest of all time conversation. Probably would be considered the greatest hurdler of all time, regardless of him not getting the Olympic gold. Do you view Olympic golds differently?
no, I don't. But it would just be
Yeah.
kind of weird or like interesting the fact that like the greatest to ever do it never got to win on the Olympics. And it's basically because of the way Olympics is. It's every 4 years. And if a career
Mhm.
typically
Yeah.
you only really have 2 Olympics in your prime, right? and then maybe two
Yeah.
other Olympics on the tertiary. And if during your prime, one you get upset and the other one you just happen to have a little injury or whatever, it's like it makes it like, well, I was good for 12 years and 10 of them I was amazing
Yeah.
and two of them I just had a bad day, you know, so
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's different because we talk about all the time, like who's the greatest athlete to never like make an Olympic team in the US. I think it's different when you talk about making teams versus medals. Because if you said, well, he never even made an Olympic team, that's different. But to get us to have a silver, if you end your career with 4 golds, 2 silvers, and the 4 golds are in the Olympics and the 2 silvers are in the World Championships, I think most track people are just going to look at that total number and they're not going to differentiate between gold and silver. Again, I think athletes want it because they want to be able to say, because you hear this all the time and you sometimes forget, like someone will win 2 Olympic golds but not have a world championship gold, and then they'll win a world championship gold and they'll say, finally I got my world championship gold, and you're like, wait a minute, and you go back and like look at their Wikipedia and you're like, oh, they didn't win a world championship. Okay, well I guess that's important. They all blend together to me. If it's outdoors, they all blend together to me. Also, Grant might have the best profile picture on World Athletics. That is amazing. I'm just seeing this now for the first time. If you're listening and not watching, Google Grant Holloway's World Athletics profile. His picture is phenomenal. Well done, Grant. You're the first person to have like a truly unique
it
profile
kind of it
picture.
looks
Let me see this.
like it looks like he's like shocked that they're taking a photo of him. Like, oh shoot, the camera's here. Like they're taking a picture of me. It's kind of funny.
Shaved head. That's when he breaks his records too with the shaved head. He, I think it's interesting too. The whole idea of people ask him about this in the mix zone. The approach when you run really fast in the semis and having to come back in the final, because that reminded me of Eugene in the trials. He goes 12:81 and then he has to come back in the final. And remember, Mike Holloway was right at the finish line after that semi, telling him like, "Calm down, like you still got another race to run." He kind of does something similar here, where he equals the world record and then has to come back a few hours later. That's tough to do, but at the same time, I don't think you want to flip that switch off. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see Grant outdoors. Obviously. All right, here's my next one: Munjinga Kambunji winning. And let me make the argument of why this matters. Okay, it's an indoor 60. I know the 60 is not run